Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.
Let me introduce you. Not that Johnny Letts needs any introduction at all, but we've managed to catch him. He's a very busy man. John, how are you? Can you hear me, John?
Yes, I certainly can.
Wonderful to have you on the show.
I'm in the queue up in here in Brisbane, and we did a little bit of Melbourne Cup work, but as you know, the big one's on Tuesday.
Yes. Now, what are you doing? You're travelling around Australia with the Melbourne Cup. Is it the one that's going to be won on Tuesday, or is it an older one?
No, it's the one that's won on Tuesday, and we have we've been this year we've done 44 towns and cities in Australia, and
wow.
eight overseas since 1st of July. Of course, I don't do all of them, but I do the majority of them.
Good God! And you say you're queued up. What are you queued up for there?
Well, we're just out in Brisbane,
yep.
And we're out here with P&O. We're doing a little bit of promotion on the Cup.
Right.
But Jeremy, it's talking about the Cup. You know, we have a new one every year. What a lot of people don't realise is that Cup that we actually take around Australia, it is presented to the owner every year. Now, last year it was $275,000 with the price of gold.
Yep.
This year it's valued at $600,000.
Wow! And it is real gold.
It's 99.9, all Australian made and handcrafted. Nothing in it. There's a guy and he's in his 70s and he handcrafts it up in Brisbane, and it's done every year. We get a new one every year.
Wow! How many of those have you won?
I've won 2.
Wow!
And, yes, and Jeremy, mine are a lot smaller than the big one. But the guy said to me the other day, he said, if you keep it, it's going to be worth as much as the big one in years to come, but the big one will be worth a lot more.
My God.
Yeah.
What's it like to win the Melbourne Cup, to be on the back and get the horse across the line?
Well, it's something, Jeremy, that you always dream about. It's, you know, as a kid, as a jockey, I wanted to win the Port Adelaide Cup because I'm a Port Adelaide supporter. Could never do it. I ran 3 seconds. Then I won an Adelaide Cup, a few Adelaide Cups, and that was very satisfying. But then my ambition, Jeremy, actually was just to ride in it, you know, because the excitement of the day, you know, 120,000 people, and the excitement of, you know, riding in front of the world. And the last year that we had the Mackay Diva, that was one of my last years of interviewing on track. Well, we had, around the world, Jeremy, we had 800 million viewers in 32 countries.
Wow. So it's the race that really does stop not only the nation, but a fair part of the world.
Yeah, Jeremy, it stops the world. And you know, to think that, you know, the schools stop, the kids stop, the teachers stop, everyone stops. There's sweeps everywhere.
Yep.
And you know, the thing about the Melbourne Cup, Jeremy, which is very important, and we talk about it, on next Tuesday when that horse goes over the line and his nose hits it, his life changes, the owner's life changes, the jockey's life changes, the trainer's life changes, the breeder's life changes, and also the strapper now, and they're all recognised now with trophies.
No, that's wonderful. I'm just trying to work it out here, how long you have been in the business, because you started out as an apprentice in 1959.
That's right.
How old were you then?
I was 16. I'm 80 now.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And how many, apart from the 2 Melbourne Cups, how many winners have you had?
2,350.
Good God. And you still don't want to retire?
Jeremy, I'm like you. They won't let me.
Oh, no, I just don't want to retire. I think you just don't let the old man in and you just keep on keeping on.
Jeremy, think young and be young.
No, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, no,
the greatest horse, now it might be Piping Lane or Belldale Ball, I don't know, but what's the greatest horse that you've ever had the pleasure of riding?
Well, he won 2 Melbourne Cups with a horse called Rain Lover.
Oh, yes.
But won an Adelaide Cup when he was a 3-year-old, and he went on and won 2 Melbourne Cups. Biggest disappointment, Jeremy, was when I was when I won the Melbourne Cup. It was 4 years after Rainlover won it, and I was actually going to ride him in the Melbourne Cup, but we lost the horse because he went to another trainer, and my trainer was ill, Graham Hegner. Of course, you knew Graham.
Yes.
And he lost the horse, and he had to give up training, and of course, I lost the ride, and, Jeremy, it was incredible because he won the Melbourne Cup by 8 lengths, the biggest winning margin ever.
Wow.
And I was sitting, I was up at Balaclava races watching. It was tough, but you remember the great Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
Jimmy rode him, and he was my mentor, so it made it a bit easier.
Yep. I know. I know that Caroline has got a great interest in Belldale Ball because it was owned by her mother and stepfather, I think.
That's right, and one of the greatest accolades I think that we had for the Melbourne Cup, Jeremy, was when Robert and Susan came to me after the race, and Susie was there, and I had so much for her that I just loved the lady. She was just such a lovely person. And, Susan and Robert said to me after the Melbourne Cup, they said, this is the greatest race in the world. And yet, Susie and Robert have been around the world for the Kentucky Derby and everywhere they went.
Yep.
But the thing was, they said, this is the greatest. And it was just fantastic, to win it for them. I love Susie. Everywhere you went, she recognised you, Jeremy, and she was such a lovely, warm person.
Yeah, no, a remarkable lady, a one-off. I remember seeing the photograph of her. I think it was in one of the domestic planes, Qantas or Ansett, and she was walking up and down the aisle with the Melbourne Cup filled with champagne, giving everybody a drink.
That's Miss Gilmore. That's Susie. That's Susie. Yeah.
The Melbourne Cup is... How did it get to be so successful? I see that Sydney is really jealous of things like the Melbourne Cup. Hence, they've come up with their own thing, the Everest.
Yes.
Can you manufacture anything that would be likely to be a threat or a competitor to the Melbourne Cup?
No threat at all, Jeremy, because when you look back over the Melbourne Cup is history, and you can't buy history. And the Melbourne Cup is a Group 1. The Everest and those races haven't got a group rating. The stake money is very, very big. But if you see the breakdown of what happens, it's the Everest is, I think, 20 million. And I think the owner finishes up, so the winner gets 3.5 million because they sell slots in it.
Oh, yeah.
I think he gets 3.5 million, whereas the Melbourne Cup, he gets 5.5 million anyway. So, and it doesn't cost you the 600,000 to get in there.
5.5 million for one race. You can understand people sort of.
Yep.
I don't know. Have you got a tip for the Melbourne Cup?
I like Gold Trip. I think he'll win the race. I think he's the one I'd like to be. If I still ride, he's the one I'd love to be on.
Gold Trip.
Gold Trip. Yep.
Okay, I'll remember that. I remember seeing you so many times. Was it Channel 7, the coverage of major races where you'd ride out there with a handheld microphone and you'd interview the jockey on the winning horse?
Yeah, Channel 7 it was.
Channel 7. Are you still doing that?
No, Jeremy. I've retired from that. Now we're just doing the tours with the Victorian Racing Club and all around Australia and around the world.
Now, do you have horses yourself?
No, not now. The only time I have them is when I pat them. Or back them.
Pat them or back them. No, well,
pat them or back them.
It's wonderful to talk to you, John, and thank you very, very much. I know you're busy.
Yes, thanks, Jeremy. Love to all.
Yep, and love to you and your family. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Johnny Letts. The great Johnny Letts.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.